the beige cubicled world. Making lives worth saving has its own claim on necessity. Art and science, leisure and work, invention and execution are all parts of the same system. After college, I went to work in art museums because I thought they were public libraries for imagination. It turned out their inner workings were decidedly economic, and I went to business school in hopes of becoming a museum manager. The plot of my life splintered in 2001, the summer after business school. Within a month, our father died suddenly, the corporate job I had taken was canceled, and 9/11 happened. A year later, I made a life decision as much as a career one and enrolled in an MFA in painting program at the Slade School of Fine Art in London. In 2004, the year I finished art school, Daniel Pink declared in the Harvard Business Review that the MFA was the new MBA. James J. Kramer wrote that Wall Street analysts should get fine art degrees so that they could, like the great modernists, spot undervalued AT&T stock before everyone else. On the ground, the cultures were almost comically different. Business school was full of frameworks so general we could apply the same one to population control and toothpaste marketing. My Navy interview suit felt so generic I taped plastic airline wings to the lapel and wore it for Halloween. Art school, by contrast, overflowed with patternless and singular events. One day I crested the grand worn marble staircase of the Slade Building. On the landing, someone had placed a banana on which they had written, "Please put me in your ass." The only person in art school who wore a suit was fellow painter Nick Brown, and only once, when he had been out all night at a burlesque strip club and then come into the studio directly to paint, still wearing three-piece pinstriped tails. Having an MFA and MBA as of 2004 made me somewhat exotic, but what was surprising was to realize how intertwined creativity and commerce actually are for all of us. This book is a meditation and a manual, a manifesto and a love story for how art, creativity writ large, and business go together. It is about how to construct a life of originality and meaning within the real constraints of the market economy. It is about how to make space for vulnerability and the possibility of failure within the world of work, with its very real and structural pressures to get things done, to win praise and adulation, and to contribute to bottom-line growth. My perspective is not as a captain of industry, but as someone who has spent more than a decade working and playing in two very different worlds, art and business, and thinking about how they come together. Ultimately, business represents strength, art, and flexibility. To be an athlete, a whole person, you need both power and range of motion. The particular ways in which you decide to combine art and business, invention and execution, will stem from many different questions that we will come to address by the end of this book. The A word. To really talk about art and business together, the first thing we need is a more versatile Swiss Army knife definition of what art is. Art traditionally means objects like paintings or sculptures. The term more recently includes the highly conceptual or de-skilled works that people puzzle over in museums and galleries. That confusion about art is not new. In 1926, Konstantin Brancusi's sculpture Bird in Space got stopped in customs and labeled as kitchen utensils and hospital supplies. In 1974, the German artist Joseph Beuys, who famously proclaimed that everyone is an artist, made an artwork that consisted of locking himself in a room with a live coyote, a wool blanket, a cane, and daily delivery of the Wall Street Journal. Our remit here is more universal and does not require you to lock yourself in a room with a news source and a predatory animal. The German philosopher Martin Heidegger attempted to define the category of art in a 1947 essay called The Origin of the Work of Art. In a testament to how difficult that is to do, Heidegger worked and reworked his argument from 1930 until 1960, republishing it periodically. I like to think that defining art is so hard, he only stopped working on it in 1976 when he died. To adapt a definition from Heidegger, a work of art is something new in the world that